Thank you, Carl. And it's great to be on the summit one more time. I'm going to chat to everybody about what do you do when you want to actually purchase a franchise? What are the things that you should be considering? Are you tired of trading your precious hours for a paycheck every month? Are you the guy that now thinks that you should be independent, create your own wealth? Are you the guy that wants to actually start something brand new? Change things in your life to become more independent, where you have your own time and your own space to do what you think you would like to do and not answer to a boss? Then you should look at starting your own business. But starting your own business can be also faulty. So what else is there to choose? So the best thing to choose then is a franchise. Now, why a franchise rather than starting your own business? If you start your own business, you have to start the concept from scratch. You have to get your product mix. You need to get your marketing mix. You need to get all the systems in place. All of this is time consuming. Do you have the time to work for 6 months and then start the business? Then it's maybe good. But if you buy a franchise, you now have a blueprint of a brand new business that's been proven. The franchisor has proven that it's working. He's operated longer than a year. It's a unique business, and he has everything that you need. All the systems are in place, all the marketing is in place. Everything that you require is already in place. You have an operations manual and you have all the training to be able to put you into a business very quickly. That's why I think you should then buy a franchise rather than starting your own business or working for somebody. Create your own wealth and create your own little fortune. You've now decided to buy a franchise, but what do you do? How do you go about, what processes are you supposed to now go through to make sure that you're choosing the right thing for you? The first thing, obviously, is self-evaluation. You need to ask yourself a lot of questions. What do you like? What sort of business would you like to do? What are you good at? What hobby do you have? Remember, starting a business that's also a hobby just makes it so much better and so much more fun and gives you a lot of encouragement to actually run the business efficiently. Are you good at managing a business? Have you ever tried? That's not always a problem because you're going to be trained how to do it in a franchise anyway. But ask yourself, can you manage people? Do you understand how to do the whole business aspect? Do you understand numbers, all of that? If not yet, then you need to maybe look at things to get yourself up to speed. Will you be able to conform to a franchise? Remember, there's systems in place. All of these systems work, and often they are rigid. They're rigid enough to get you to run the business successful, but it's still your own business. Then you need to look at the affordability. Go into your own pocket and have a look. How much money have you saved? Remember, if you're buying a franchise, you can't buy a franchise with no money. If you think you can, it's a pipe dream. It doesn't work. You need to have some sort of unencumbered cash to buy the business. So go into your finances, see what you can raise, what unencumbered cash can you actually raise to be able to buy the franchise. Now the journey starts. Once you've got all of those things in place and you understand where you're at, this is now the next step. Yourself, the best and the next step is to actually look at which industry you would be interested in. Would it be the food industry? Are you a health fanatic? Do you want to be in the health industry? Do you want to do consulting? Do you want to be in the training industry? Is there clothing industry that you want, or do you want to have a supermarket type of business? Or is it building? There are so many industries that you can choose from. On the FASA website, they actually have an industry selection that you can click on, and you can get all the companies that are actually in that particular industry. So have a look and then decide, okay, I'm doing the food industry. Now you need to look at what concept you want to do. Within each industry, there are so many different concepts, and you really need to have a look at each concept. What is that you really like? For example, the food. Would you like chicken? Would you like fish? Would you like pizza sort of business? Look at all those concepts. If in the gym industry, there's something like Mover. There's quite a few different industry concepts within a industry. Go and have a look at each concept. Do a bit of research. Go and see what the market feels about them. Go and look once again on the FASA website and go to each one and read all their bio, understand who they're about and what they're about. And then you need to go to the next step and say, okay, what is it my expectation of a franchise? When you're looking at a concept, think about a few questions that you would like answered. And these are just a few points, but you can actually make your own list and see what you would like to see out of it. Is the business quite a profitable business? Do you make high profits, low profits? What is their GP? Have a look at their financials and understand what they say they can do. Is it unique and unusual? Is it something that you can identify with? Does it have geographical appeal? Can you open a store close to home? Where do you have to travel to another city, or do you have to move to another city to be able to get a franchise that is available? Is it easy to operate? How difficult would it be to start? Is it inexpensive to run the business? And once again, is it easily duplicated? Would there be enough training so that you can duplicate the same business and have the same result? You've now decided on a few different concepts, and now you need to have a look at what's the next step. And of course, it is to actually go and meet the franchisor. Go and see a representative of their company and get information from them. Have a look around. If it's a food restaurant, have some of their food. If they're doing courses, sit in on one of the courses and see what type of training they do. There's in each industry that you go, first thing is to actually meet with a franchisor company, and then go through all and ask a lot of questions on all the things that you still would like to know. It's a general observation, and you then choose which one you like the most. A concept that suits your needs and what you want. Now, how do you evaluate the franchise properly? Have a look at what their track record is. Have they been trading for a period? Do they have a good track record with their customers? Do they have a good track record with their franchisees? Go and visit one or two of the franchisees and ask very pertinent questions. Understand what they're about, and if you like what you hear. Is it making money? Is the franchisor telling you they're making money, and is there proof that they do? Do they have proper documentation? Do they have a disclosure document? Do they have a proper franchise agreement? What do you need to do? Ask all these questions of the franchise itself and get info as much as you can. On your evaluation, it's also really important to actually then do the application. Now, remember, the franchisor also needs to make sure that you're the right person and the right fit for his business. So he's going to give you an application form, which varies from business to business. Sometimes there's an application fee, sometimes they're not. They just want a document to be able to look at your financial record, your track record, and then they will obviously vet you as well. Once that process is done, the next step would be to actually buy the franchise. Now it's the exciting part of actually buying the business. You now need to get some documentation in place. You need to, once the franchisor has approved you and you've approved the franchisor, you're now in agreement that you want to buy the franchise. Then you get their disclosure document and you get their franchise agreement. Now, once you have these, you should wait for 10 days, go through it thoroughly. You need to read every bit of it, take it to your attorney once you've read it, ask for explanation from your own attorney, have an accountant maybe look at the financials and see and verify the financials. You can request the financials from the franchisor as well. But most of the time, everything is in their disclosure document. They will give you some financial insight, what they do, how they do their marketing, how they do their training, how long their training is. And once you're now quite comfortable with all of this, you should meet up with a franchisor and then sign the franchise agreement and the disclosure document. Remember to sign each page on your disclosure and also each page on your franchise agreement. Once you've now received the signed documentation, there's a cooling off period. Normally it's a 10-day period. It's 10 working days. In that 10 working days, it gives you a bit of a remorse time. If you feel, oh, you've done the wrong thing, what do I need to do now? You can cancel the franchise agreement. But generally, people are normally happy because they've already done their due diligence and they've gone through the process. And then once you've now quite happy, you pay your franchise fee. And if you have to set up a store, you need to pay at least the minimum of 50% of the fee required to start the store. If it's another business, you also have to go the same process, unless you have to build the store yourself. But usually then you just pay the franchise fee. If you have to go for a loan, be very aware that a loan application does take time. Make sure that your franchise agreement gives you enough time to allocate to be able to get the loan from the banks. Sometimes, depending on your credit record, depending on franchisor, how quick it goes. But usually it goes between 3 weeks to 3 months. Usually a franchise agreement would give you 90 days to get the balance of the fee. But remember, you still have to have 50% unencumbered funds, and the loan that you're going to do will have to be secured as well. Now, once you have all of this, the great thing is now it's the rollout time. When does the training start? So now you need to go into a planning stage with your franchisor. Your franchisor will have to sit down with you and say to you, these are the plans, how are we going to actually roll out? How long will it take to roll out? How long will the training would happen? When do you employ staff? How do you train your staff? All of these processes are now going to be explained to you. Remember, the planning stage is really important. It gives you the time to roll out the business much faster, much better, because the franchisor has done all of this and they will inform you how the processes work. Now, I think you've now gone through all the steps to choose a franchise. You've gone through all the steps to purchase a franchise. Now I think you should be happy that you actually have your own business and you can do something that will make you more sustainable in your own life and more independent. So good luck. Thank you for listening to me. I hope I was informative. I gave you a bit of info. How do you choose a franchise that you want to buy, and why should you choose franchising in general anyway? My contact details are on the screen. It's franchiseinAbox.co.za is my website, and my number is there as well. And yeah, thank you for allowing me to talk on the summit.
Thank you so much, Robin. Once again, you've offered so much value. I like the way you took us through the practical step by step when assessing and thinking about buying a franchise. And one of the things I really picked up on was the way we need to align what we do with who we are, like the industry we're interested in, our values, what we enjoy doing. I mean, there are a flood of franchise opportunities out there and businesses out there that we can buy. I just look at some of the partners that have come on board, some of our sponsors, some of the guys that are on the expo page, and some of the examples you mentioned in your session. There's such a variety to choose from. I think when we think franchising, and when most people think franchising, the first thing they think is McDonald's, KFC, Nando's. They might think Pick and Pay, Spa, or something like that, but they don't realize there are hundreds of smaller franchises that are like such amazing opportunities. And I think it's important that, like you said, that we evaluate properly before we buy something, that we know what we're looking at, we know what to look for, and we know the warning signs that could separate the fly by nights from the real things. Just one question here, Robin. This person says, how do we identify a fly by night? What's the main thing that we need to look out for? Because there's a lot of guys out there that look fabulous and wonderful, but they might just be a fly by night.
Usually in the disclosure document, they supply you with all their current franchisees. And you need to do your due diligence and actually contact these franchisees, go and visit them and see what problems they've had. And you would very quickly know once you meet with them that there is a problem or not. And also look at social media, what is actually happening in social media about the
Okay.
business. Gives you a good indication. FASA also gives a bit of review of some
Mm.
franchisors. So check with them and see what is going on.
And I think that's also the value in being a member of FASA, is that you know that if a franchise is a member of a reputable association, that there is a level of it's different to just a normal. We
No, definitely, there's a much higher level of franchisor that belongs to FASA because now you know they have to be ethical,
mm,
their documentation is correct, and they also offer value then for you as a franchisee to have a franchisor that is FASA
mm.
registered.
And I think you're actually been voted on as a board member this year, this current year, onto FASA's board of directors. And I noticed just when you did our registration for us, the code of conduct and all that kind of stuff that you helped us subscribe to in becoming members of FASA, that meant a lot for me and also for my franchisees. You know what we found interesting, Robin, when we started promoting this franchise summit about a year ago. We looked at the FASA manual. So FASA issues a manual every year, and in the manual are all of their members are listed, the preliminary members, all the details and all that. But then they also have a section where they list all the non-members, so franchises that are not members. And when we went through that list of non-members, because we reached out to everybody, we contacted all the members, told them about the summit, invited them to become part of the summit, but then we started reaching out to the non-members. And you know what was interesting? I had the 2019 manual, and the 2019 manual, we contacted all those people, and of that, the non-members, there were probably around 50% of those guys didn't exist anymore. They weren't, no more website, no more contact, they closed down. Okay, we had COVID and we had all of that stuff happen in between. But it was very interesting for me to see those guys who were not members of FASA, compared to the members of FASA that were still around 2, 3 years later.
Yeah, it is interesting that guys just fall off the wayside and they don't follow the procedures, and then they eventually just lose their franchisees. And that's very sad most of the time.
Yeah, it is, because the guys invested a lot of money in buying their business.
Yeah.
So yeah, Robin, thanks again for your time. I'm going to, like I said last time, I'm going to put your link below. There's also a comment box below. So please, guys, if any of you want to make a comment or want to reach out or want Robin to get hold of you, or you want to set up a meeting with Robin, you're more than welcome. Type your details in the comment box. Remember that is private. No one else is going to see that. And then and then we'll make sure that Robin then gets hold of you, or that you get the contact details and we pass that on. Robin, thanks again. Thank you for what you've done for us in the summit. And as we come to an end, we've got one more session to go after Robin, and that is going to be Freddie Mukhato, who is the CEO of FASA, and he's going to come and talk to us a little bit about FASA and the value that FASA adds, and just what FASA is doing in general for us as franchises. Thank you, Robin, and we'll catch up again soon.